Hey guys, wanted to do a update video on the Gen 6 454 for the 25 Corsair. I mocked up the exhaust system. These are not installed. I don't even have gaskets in them, but I was curious about the footprint and spacing I was going to have to do everything. I just want to mock it up, and also I kind of want to see what it was going to look like, and it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty sexy. And this is the Power Flow exhaust system. I've never used this before, but I've heard really good things about them. It's really light. I don't know if this is aluminum or some sort of alloy, and the reason I mention that will make sense in a little while. But they're very lightweight, and the client actually probably knows more about them than I do. But looks really good on the engine, and the cool thing about it is it still leaves everything very accessible. It looks like the rocker cover will go, will work with ease. So anyway, my tenants next door are kind of noisy, so I may have to shut the video down. But anyway, I'll keep going through. The reason I'm making this video is several fold. There's some problems with the heat exchanger. First off, I'll cover that. This is actually a heat exchanger for a small block. I trust this guy at Jerry's Marine. His name is Steve. Steve is really pro, and he told me this is just not going to work. And it was kind of always in the back of my mind, thinking, because it looks identical to a heat exchanger that I had used on some Crusader 350s. And it was just, again, I always had it in the back of my mind, but I was so busy doing everything else, I didn't have time to really engineer it. But based on what Steve told me, this is not even sufficient to cool just the block and the heads. And in other words, if we were to run, salt water through the exhaust manifolds, which I don't want to do that since these are more than likely aluminum. So that's the worst news in this video, is this is not going to work, and we're going to have to back up and punt with respect to that. It might not be such a bad thing, because if this is, I don't even know what this is. I think this is a Crusader. If this is a Crusader, by the time we started trying to marry the plumbing between Mercruiser, this is more or less a Mercruiser engine, and by the time we start trying to marry the two designs together, it might have turned into a freaking nightmare anyway. So we may have dodged a bullet. Okay, so I'll move on from there. Again, talking to Steve, he suggested if I do change the distributor system to go with the Delco, but I'm kind of backing off from this because it's about $412, and this is a Mercruiser Thunderbolt. This is a really good distributor. There's nothing wrong with this at all, and also the fact that it's already wired for the wiring harness that is on the engine. It would, if I were to go with an alternate, like distributor, whether it be a flamethrower or something like that, we're going to end up doing wiring. And I think everybody knows I don't have a problem letting you know when I'm not qualified, and I don't want to be doing any electrical work, just not qualified. Another thing that's good about this distributor, if we decide to use this, is it's in excellent condition. The distributor's good. The rotor, the cap, and if this will give you a good indication. I haven't cleaned this, and you can look at that. It was running really good. So that's a very good indication that sometimes it's best to leave well enough alone. Again, it plugs right into the wiring harness that's already on the engine, the boat. I suggest we stay with that distributor and not try to improve something, because we might make some improvements, but it's going to end up costing us $400 to $600 just for parts and labor to work through it. So anyway, I think I've driven that point home. I got a list here. I'm going to kind of run through and make sure I'm covering everything. I talked about the Thunderbolt. I talked about the heat exchanger, and also on this list, he can also get the Edelbrock carb that we've been talking about. This is the 1410. His price is about 550 bucks plus tax. So all the more reason to probably just buy one off of eBay, because I found a really good deal on a brand new one out of Georgia. It's on eBay. I think it's 435 bucks, and I couldn't justify buying the used one that's on eBay. That is I think it's like 185 bucks, but then I'd have to rebuild it. So in other words, I think the one on eBay is a good deal in the low 400 range. I found the Edelbrock Air Gap 7561 intake manifold, which if we stay closed cooled, we can use that intake. But if we convert back to salt water, cooled, raw water cooled, then we can't use that intake. And we got an issue probably with these exhaust manifolds. So, one thing serves the other. But anyway, I'm good with maintaining the direction that we're going in, and I think that's going to cover most everything that I need to kind of present. But again, I just want to make sure that we don't panic, about this heat exchanger and freak out. And go, oh, let's just go saltwater cool. Let's just go back, because it'll throw a cog, in the wheel and screw up the rest of the design. So on that note, again, looks great. It's really sexy, and it's just a mock-up. But I'm about to break it down and put those to the side. But I think that should be pretty much it. And again, I'm making this video just for the client to kind of process. This is a ton of information, and I don't want to shoot this stuff over in a text, because I got a feeling I'll probably just lose you really fast. But let's plan on having a phone conversation pretty soon, because I want to keep the budget. I'm sorry, I didn't even have the thing in the video. I want to keep the budget under control, but as I said early in the build, this is your baby, and I want you to be the one to make the last call on what we do with everything. So sexy, looks really good. I'm really happy with it, and I'm gonna shut the video down there. Thanks, guys, appreciate it.